The Red River Farm Network is celebrating the role of women in agriculture for our special series we call Agricult-HER. And it's, of course, made possible by the good folks with the Minnesota Soybean Research and Promotion Council, the North Dakota Corn Council, the Minnesota Corn Growers Association, Ag Country Farm Credit Services, and Van On and Company. A treat today to visit with Stephanie Sinner, Executive Director of the North Dakota Soybean Council. Stephanie, thanks for taking time to visit with us today.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Excited for the conversation today.
Well, as the exec with the Soybean Council, you're in charge of the soybean checkoff in North Dakota. I'm curious, let's go back to where you started. What was your first job in agriculture and how did that shape your career path?
Sure. I don't know that we could maybe say first paying job in
Yeah.
agriculture. I did grow up in Southwest Colorado. My parents and my sister and I, and my parents were entrepreneurs, but eventually entrepreneurship led to cattle ownership, just enough to keep us busy on the weekends and holidays and constantly fixing fence. So I did grow up on a cow-calf operation in a small mountain valley town, which was rooted in agriculture. So lots of specialty crop production, hay, alfalfa, and of course beef cattle was a primary scene in the valley where we grew up. So first early memories are of feeding cattle. So agriculture has been a part of me from the beginning, and I'm very grateful for that.
I like that caveat, though, first paying job. A lot of us get hauled right into it, whether we like it or not.
Right, right.
So then you went off to school at Oklahoma State?
Yeah, I actually did my undergrad at Fort Lewis College, which is a small school there in Southwest Colorado. Kept me close enough to home that spring break, you always joke with my peers that spring break for us was called calving season. Uh, so close enough to get home for those events and be a help on the family ranch there. So that was good. My pursuit at Fort Lewis College was what ended up being a double major in Spanish literature and animal science. So kind of a weird pairing if you just
Yeah.
take it at first glance, but really learned a passion for language, learned a passion for finding out and learning about the global opportunities for our U.S. farmers and ranchers, and really seeing that I really had an interest in learning more about how I could be a part of that and helping promote our products around the world.
So what
And
sparked that interest in the international side of this?
we growing up in the farming and ranching valley that I grew up in, we had a large Hispanic population that lived there and really were a tight part of our community and part of our ranches and our farms. A lot of specialty crops, and so families that we knew from really all over, but from Mexico mainly, that were an integral part of our cropping season there in the valley. So I think early exposure to learning about other cultures and languages and finding out that agriculture is really a global thing, and that we right there at home on our small ranch had a big part of it, and that there was more to it and there were bigger opportunities. Really thought I might be able to stay at home and work cattle and do the international ag thing, but the path took a different turn, and that was good. I also worked all through high school for one of our elected state representatives there in Colorado. Got into that role because she was serving in the state legislature out in Denver and needed somebody to watch her cattle herd during session. So my sister and I took on managing her cattle herd for her, and then eventually it became, Stephanie, can you stop and get the mail? Stephanie, can you do this? Stephanie, could you make a few more phone calls? And it just morphed into this really great opportunity to watch her in her role advocating for the farmers and ranchers of the state, and seeing a peek into that aspect of agriculture, that those decisions being made and the roles everybody plays in those leadership decisions really funnel all the way back to the farm gate. So
What a unique way to getting some exposure to government, right?
it really was. Yeah, yeah. I was also raised Presbyterian, and we're a very structured, governance driven denomination. So had some opportunities there as well. But but yeah, really working for Representative Alexander was a big eye opener, and I really became interested in that aspect of agriculture.
So, what brought you to North Dakota?
So, kind of a circuitous route. If you were to track me on the map back there, we kind of went all over. So after undergraduate, I was selected for a internship lobbying for the Colorado Cattlemen's Association in Denver. So moved out to Denver, and I thought, if I really do this internship, this might really tell me if I like the policy side of things. So moved out there and dove in headfirst with the Cattlemen's Association for Colorado, and again got a little more exposure to all the aspects of what makes agriculture possible and what helps support our farmers and ranchers everywhere, and the folks that are integral in that, working with boards. From there, I went on to Oklahoma State University, where I pursued my master's in international agriculture, trade, and export. So the path just continued to unfold. Doors continued to open. That also afforded me an opportunity to do a semester of my master's degree work in just an agriculture university just outside of Mexico City. So I spent a semester down there. And then when I came back to OSU and was getting ready to graduate, my rule was, if you apply for jobs everywhere. And if they offer a paycheck, you got to go. Student loans, all the things, but really didn't give myself room for many excuses to not go somewhere and try something. My parents were very entrepreneurial and good adventurers and great supporters in me going forward and finding new things. So the call came from then Ag Commissioner Roger Johnson out of Bismarck, and the North Dakota Department of Agriculture was hiring for a policy analyst. And I moved up, had never been to the state and didn't know a soul. And I thought, well, here we go. Let's give this a whirl.
And how many years later you're still here, right?
Yeah, I tell people I'm on year 20 of my 2-year plan for North Dakota. So this summer will be 20 years that I moved up here and really landed in a pretty amazing place for just fantastic opportunities to work in agriculture.
So talk about that. Why do you think North Dakota stands out when it comes to really creating some opportunities in this business?
Yeah. Having worked in Colorado on many different aspects of agriculture, some of it felt unreachable. And that was a frustrating feeling, right? And seeing our agriculture organizations really work hard for the recognition and the support that they needed. And so moving to North Dakota and really landing a front row seat with our ag department and the work that they do, a state with a smaller population, but a state where agriculture is, one of the second most important industries, really elevated the opportunities. And the way agriculture works in North Dakota, I think really just said, hey, we need all the folks that can speak up and be involved and get involved. And it's just such a critical piece of our economic strength in this state and the fabric of our rural communities. So the Ag Department really was a great opportunity to get involved in lots of areas and aspects of North Dakota agriculture. I came from what would probably be, a Williston type of setup with we were cowboys, running horses and cattle and branding and that sort of thing. And then I ended up really getting more involved in the crop aspect of it. So I had a steep learning curve, but really surrounded by people who were willing to take me in and help me learn and get my head around it. So I really enjoyed that.
So at the North Dakota Department of Agriculture, you had an international marketing role there, didn't you?
I did. So started in that policy analyst, helping with the ag commissioner and his team working on some farm bill pieces in that first year and a half. Then a position opened for the marketing side of things, and with that came the international role. And so it really, again, God had a plan, the doors opened, and the opportunities were there. So I took on the role of leading, putting together the inbound and outbound trade teams and trade missions for North Dakota Department of Agriculture. And so that was a really great experience, helping get our farmers and agriculture companies to markets around the world to meet with buyers one-on-one and get their products sold. My first trade mission was to Cuba, and that was that was trial by fire. That was a real experience because there just isn't a strong U.S. in-country support system like there would be in other countries because of the history there with Cuba, but successfully was able to do 3 trade missions with the Ag Department to Cuba. And so that was really just a humbling opportunity to be a part of that.
Yeah, I've had the opportunity twice to be there, and it's just very eye-opening. You and I actually, when you were at the Soybean Council, when you started in international marketing, were on a trade mission to China. And I just think anytime people have those opportunities, it's so eye-opening. You've got the big map behind you, but it really shows us how big the world is, but also how small it is as well.
It really is. And I think probably one of the most rewarding things is to be with agriculture companies or with farmers or ranchers on that first trip overseas from a business perspective. As you know, we always tried to tour some agriculture aspect of the country we were visiting. People around the globe are farming and ranching and raising animals and crops, food and fuel, just like we are. And so the strength that comes from meeting the people that are doing the same kind of work we are on the other side of the globe is just really rewarding. And I think it helps. I think you never climb back into your feed truck or your combine without thinking about those folks again and realizing the interconnectedness of feeding and fueling our planet. So yeah, China was great. It was one of many opportunities, and that was when we went to fairly often. So it was a big market opportunity for North Dakota.
Well, you think of a landlocked state like North Dakota, those export markets are extremely important to us.
They are. And I think probably, moving here and realizing how critical it was for agriculture industry in this state was a learning experience for me as well. Highly reliant on all of our infrastructure systems, our rail, our roads, bridges, trucks, all of those aspects to be able to move all of these crops in and out efficiently. North Dakota is really seen around the globe across many commodities and many products as a really reliable, consistent supplier of high quality products. And so that was always really rewarding as well. On those trade missions, I kind of felt like with North Dakota, when you sat down at the table with buyers, you really were kind of opening a menu. If you wanted corn, wheat, beans, flax, soybeans, canola, beef, we could offer it. And so that was pretty fun to be a part of those conversations.
So how did you make the journey from the Ag Department to the Soybean Council?
The opportunity came about that they were looking for a market development director at the Soybean Council, and I was kind of ready to not be traveling quite so much. So it was a good opportunity and a good time, and so thought I'd throw my name in and see what worked. And so in June of 2013, I started at the Soybean Council as Director of Market Development. So really doing very much the same work, but just for a single commodity. And so that was an interesting focus, and had really enjoyed learning more about the soybean industry and the opportunities there. Then also the opportunity to work with the board of directors. The checkoff is farmer-funded, farmer-led, farmer-driven. And so being able to work alongside farmers in their board member capacity was really, really such a great opportunity. And that's the best part of my career, has been working for farmers and ranchers. But I think working at the Soybean Council kind of brought that even closer to being involved at the farm gate level. So yeah, I started in 2013 and had the opportunity to help build out our market development program at a time when our soybean exports really took off. You think about the expansion of trade into China, all the work folks had done for many years to build those markets and build the demand and build the infrastructure system in our state. We were able to leap in and really, really take advantage of that and grow the name of North Dakota soybean around the world.
So it was 2018 when you moved into the the executive director role?
It was, yeah. So March of 2018 was offered the position as executive director, and that's been a really fun experience. I didn't think I would see a second trade issue war like we're like we're seeing today. I remember when the U.S.-China trade war broke the first time, and I remember talking to Neil Fisher over at the Wheat Commission. He said, "Don't worry about it, Stephanie. I made it through the wheat embargo. We're going to be okay." So it's good to have those folks around you that have maybe seen some of the cycles and some of the highs and the lows of an industry that really can be pretty volatile, all of agriculture. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun being executive director. We've had a lot of opportunity to expand programs, add to our team, which has been really exciting, to find the folks that bring the talent and the dedication here to support the work of the board. So it's been a lot of fun in spite of the challenges.
You've mentioned the board a couple of times, and I just look at the farmers in this footprint. I'm obviously biased, but I think we've got the most progressive farmers you're going to find really around the globe. Do they keep you challenged in that boardroom? Do they push you to do bigger and better things?
Absolutely. Yep. You're right, Don. I think I look at farmers in North Dakota, and because of some of the extremes we face, whether it's weather or to your point of being kind of a landlocked state and really having to build out systems that help move our products efficiently, farmers who aren't afraid to try the new thing, to try the new technology, try the advancements in crop production. I think of our area where the board invests in soybean research, really working over years of investment to build soybean varieties that do well in our extreme climate. And today we're seeing acres increase out west. And so we're looking at varieties that perform well under drought pressure, but then varieties that perform well out here on the eastern side of the state where the climate can just be vastly different. The board members are thought leaders, they're visionaries, and I think farmers, always the optimists for sure, but always thinking forward and about what they can do today for the next farmer, the next challenge coming our way.
Serendipity is kind of a good word when you look at your career. I'm curious, this is a series about women in agriculture. Are there enough things being done to support women coming into this business today?
There's always more we can do. I think women have made such great strides. I'm able to have the opportunities I am today because of men and women who work together to make sure those opportunities are there. It takes the diversity around the board table and on a team to make things succeed. And that's diversity in age and experience and what you've had opportunities to do through various jobs. We look at our board and we think about folks that have been farming for many generations on their farm, or first generation farmers, or folks that came back from careers in the city and joined the farm. And so it's important that those opportunities are available. We would love to see more women get involved on the boards for the commodity groups around the state. Women often do so much, right? And so it's hard to find the time. But hopefully, as we get involved with groups, we're very involved with the FFA chapters around the state and encouraging them to take their experience as ag students, whether they come from farming backgrounds or not, but to stay engaged beyond school. And these sort of commodity boards are the perfect opportunity to do that and gain some of that experience. So if you're a woman looking to pursue a career or a position in agriculture, whether it's accounting or leadership or market development or marketing, we need you. So keep going. We need you out here.
We all need role models to get there. You're obviously a role model to a lot of people. Who were some of the people that gave you a helping hand along the way?
Oh gosh, so many. For sure, my parents. Like I said, my parents were both entrepreneurs and had adventurous spirits, so they were never hesitant to try anything new. Our family's deeply rooted in faith, and so that always helped as well. But mom and dad, my dad being a rancher and teaching us that love of agriculture. My mom was a travel agent for 30 years and owned her own travel agency in the early 80s. So I see her as a a businesswoman that really helped manage and grow an industry and a team. And she was that boss lady who succeeded and had just such a wonderful team around her that she worked with. So I would say as well, Representative Kay Alexander, who I worked with in Colorado, worked with her all the way through college as well. She just worked so hard advocating for farmers and ranchers in that policy world, but also after she left the state legislature, continuing in that role to be a voice for agriculture. And so really wouldn't have had a lot of the opportunities I had if it hadn't been for her coming alongside and helping seek opportunities and open doors. But then also, I have to say for Roger Johnson for taking a chance on a kid from Colorado who'd never been to North Dakota. And hopefully I'll get that opportunity in my career as well to do that for somebody. But like I said, moving to North Dakota and everybody I've been surrounded with, they've all been so willing to help me along the way and help me learn and make connections. It's really, truly kind of like one big family. So,
no doubt. I'm curious, you've mentioned your parents a couple times and said entrepreneurs. How do you describe that? What were they involved in?
So they were very civically engaged, as well, part of community groups, clubs, organizations, church board, school board, all of that. So there was that aspect. My mom had the travel agency that she opened and managed for 30 years. My dad and mom together had a tree trimming company, a trash service company. They had the ranch. We ran the cattle. Dad also worked on some ranches in the valley as well, because as everybody knows, they're always looking for good help. In the summertime, we would help with the sweet corn harvest and pick up that. Dad drove truck. He did equipment hauling and livestock hauling. And then when I turned 15, and I swear it wasn't because of me, they opened a driver's education school. So they did driver's education, and then their last business together that mom retired from, and we lost dad in 2018, but they did drug testing for small businesses, for truck drivers, for construction companies. There's a big mining industry in Colorado as well. So really engaged in the community and pillars of the community with the businesses they owned and managed for many years. So never a dull moment in our family.
I guess I'm really glad I asked, because I'm tired just hearing about all the different jobs.
A lot of fun, a lot of good
Oh,
memories. But
great memories indeed. That's what I love this series, because we get to hear everybody's story, and everybody's got a backstory. It's really interesting to me to learn. Definitely appreciate you to sharing your story with us today. This has been great.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Oh, good to chat.
You bet. Stephanie's sitting there with us from the North Dakota Soybean Council as we celebrate the role of women in agriculture.